Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on Gujarat Namaga Valley Fertilizer and Chemistry 1Q FY22 earnings update conference call. We thank the management for giving us the opportunity to host the call. Today with us, we have Mr. D.V. Parekh, General Manager and CFO, Mr. Y.N. Patel, Head of Department O&M, Mr. A.C. Shah, General Manager and Company Secretary. I would now like to hand over the call to Mr. D.V. Parekh for his opening remarks. And thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. On behalf of GNFC, we welcome all participants to this Q1 FY22 conference call, earnings conference call. Now, the results are well before you, and you must have gone through the same. So I'm not going into, as of now, the much nitty-gritty of the results. I will take the question as and when it comes up. But I'll give you some general idea about the industry structure in which we are operating. On fertilizer front, it is somewhat muted as compared to FY21 Q1 in terms of the volume and consumption, especially mixed fertilizer led by DAP is affected significantly. Apart from this, there are input costs which have gone up significantly in case of both urea as well as mixed fertilizer, affecting the profitability of non-urea manufacturers, especially DAP and others. And therefore, the production rate has also gone down in some cases. With change in subsidy, government support has definitely come for the NPK side, but it is for a limited period as of now up to October 21. And with the continuously rising price, the industry is expecting not only the continuation but the further rise in the NPK. On the chemical side, company has witnessed, in general also there is a buoyancy in the chemical market since Q4 last year. And the same has continued in Q1 except for certain products like TDI. TDI has not done well, especially the reasons attributable are that of a pandemic for the first 2 months at least, and there is a rub-on effect also after that in June. Secondly, if we talk of the company performance, Q1 to Q1 is little comparable because in April 20 there was a forced shutdown on account of lockdown, whereas this time it was because of the planned annual shutdown. Barring for the few days of differences between the number of days between the two periods, more or less the situation in terms of the volume is comparable. However, in terms of the price, there is a marked difference. So apart from volume of production, price relations are significantly different and sales volume are also significantly different. So Q1 FY22 is actually led by both improved price and volume realizations as such, whether we as compared to Q1 FY21. As compared to Q4 FY21, the volumes have gone down by around 23 and 30%. Mainly, these are rounded figures I am talking. My colleagues will give the exact idea about the volume performance and realization performance also. So it has gone down by almost 23 and 30%, mainly because of the availability of the product in view of the annual plant shutdown. So this has been the operating scenario for the company in Q1. And as compared to these factors, if you look at the results, there is a marked improvement both at PBT, PAT level as well as EBITDA level. And if we compare at EBITDA level in terms of percentage, there is an improvement over Q4 also. There are some changes in the cost structure, mainly because of the shutdown. So this is broadly the scenario on the operating front for the company. With this, I now hand over to you back for the question and answer, and my colleagues will support the detailed questioning on the marketing as well as operations front. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who has a question may press star and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Any participant who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. Our first question is from the line of Amit Sanghvi, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Just I wanted to know the price trend from Q4 FY21 to Q1 FY22 and also from Q1 FY22 to Q2 FY22 so far. That is one thing. Another thing, whether the production and dispatches have become normal in Q2 so far. My third question is, we have a huge cash balance of approximately 1,800 crore. So I just wanted to know whether there would be any buyback of shares because we don't have any major capex in the current financial year. These are the three questions from my side, sir.
Okay. Mr. Amit Sanghvi, we have received your email as well.
Yeah.
On your first question, our marketing colleague will answer.
Yeah.
On your other two questions, the buyback part is something which we cannot comment as such as a company, whether there is a active thinking or not, but we do examine various options. Okay. These are the matters of price sensitivity, so we don't comment on that.
In fact, I would like to supplement that such corporate actions decisions are taken by the management at appropriate time, and it is difficult to judge what time is the appropriate time. Whatever, in fact, management feels appropriate, that time it will be considered.
On your second question, whether the production volumes have normalized, yes, after the shutdown, it has normalized at both the complexes. Okay. And regarding now, we touch upon the first question where our colleagues from marketing, Sri Jiten Desai, will answer about the price trends across the periods.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sanghvi.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
This is Jiten Desai. Your question is regarding comparison between Q4 last year and Q1 this year.
Right.
So as Parikshit has mentioned, that our sales volume has gone down by 23% in Q1, basically because of the pandemic effect in the April and May.
Yeah.
And as far as price is concerned, our invoice value of the volume has remained intact. Means there is a 23% reduction in volume, but the overall, the gross invoice value is reduced by 21%. That means that there is some improvement in price, unit prices of the products. And as far as Q2 is concerned, which current period, July onward, July and August, that half of the quarter has been passed. And in this quarter also, that price is sustaining. I would like to mention that out of 7 products out of 10 main products, the prices have attained historically highest level in Q4, and that is sustained yet.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Before we take our next question, we would like to remind participants to ask a question, you may enter star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Govind Lal Gilara, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Good afternoon to all GNSC team, and congratulations for good set of numbers in spite of shutdown.
Thank you.
So my first question is how many days you have taken shutdown and for which plant? For both the or one of the plant, and any shutdowns are due in current financial year going forward? That is the first question. Second question, how pricing scenario, already you have told that highest prices we have attained, we are sustaining in 45 days of even current quarter also. That is good news. But okay, going forward, what's the outlook? That is I want to know. These are the two questions, sir. Thank you.
Regarding first question, I would like to answer. We have plant shutdown of 25 days, which is our main ammonia plant, and most of the plants which are dependent on ammonia plant downstream, where the shutdown days varies depending on availability of syngas production from ammonia plant. So it varies from 23 to 25, 27, and sometimes certain plant takes time in startup also, because we call it is a cold shutdown. When shutdown is of longer duration, generally it takes a long time in stabilization. So this is about our plant shutdown, but now throughout the year there is no plant shutdown, except in some of the plants we have expected the nil production days of 2 days, 3 days here and there in different plants. Otherwise, in current year there is no plant shutdown as such.
Okay. Mr. Patel covered the Bharuch complex. The TDI-2, which is the Dahej complex, also went under shutdown from the first week of June. So practically, Bharuch was under shutdown for almost close to whole of April, and Dahej plant was under shutdown for practically for June, barring few days here and there. Regarding your next question, which is on the outlook front, see, there is a dynamic situation, especially in chemical, and predominantly the volatility is always in the chemical, both on the output prices as well as input prices. So as of now, like my colleague told, Mr. Jiten Desai, he forces a fair outlook, but these are like chemicals which are subject to volatility. So this is with a pinch of caution that you have to take the information.
Thank you, sir. Just for further clarification, I also keep track most of your product prices. So as per my knowledge, I may be wrong, sir. Please correct if I am wrong. So what I am tracking is most of your product prices are comparing the last quarter average. They are down as per my knowledge. And you are saying that most of the prices of second quarter are sustained. That is one thing. So, and the second thing, sir, net I want to know how raw material prices are also behaving, and versus first quarter now, second, and going forward, or let us say these 45 days or another remaining 45 of this quarter, how our margins will be there net comparing first quarter?
No, that would be kind of a forward-looking statement and sort of a price-sensitive information. So we would stay away from answering this particular kind of question. What are going to be the margins in Q2?
No, 45 days. No, I understand that. Okay.
45 days.
No, okay, rest of the 40 days, let us forget. 45 days you told that last quarter prices are sustaining and these prices are sustaining. So we presume that this 45 days what has gone in second quarter, we are maintaining margins of last quarter. I guess we can presume. And raw material prices, any benefit of lower raw material prices was there in first quarter? That's what I want to understand, sir.
In chemicals, all inputs are increasing. Whether we talk of key or non-key, all inputs have gone up, are going up rather, since quite some time. So it's a dynamic between the two. Secondly, we are not normally in a position to even foresee a week down the line as far as chemical volatility is concerned. There are many factors affecting. Our colleague will touch upon some of the products with example. So it is very difficult to talk about the outlook which you are asking. May I request Jiten Desai to give a couple of examples on the product pricing front which changes too frequently and too volatile, with too much volatility.
As rightly said by Parikh sir, that there is a volatility, and it is very difficult to predict as far as chemical market and chemical prices are concerned. I would like to give the example of acetic acid. That acetic acid, about 90% of the Indian consumption is met by import. And in recent time, due to shipping constraints, there are delay in arrival of the parcels. At that time, the prices have gone up beyond the international level. But when this delayed parcel come in bunch, then there is a surplus at once in the market, and that will reduce the price below the international level. So that is what is going on nowadays. This is one example. That is more or less true for other products also.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I will come back and see if I got my further any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any participant who wishes to ask a question may enter star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. We'll take a next question from Saket Kapoor from Kapoor Company. Please go ahead.
Namaskar, sir, and thank you for the opportunity. Sir, in a way, we can conclude that this plant shutdown was good since during the COVID times there were hindrance in maintaining the production level at the optimum levels. So, had this happened in some other quarter, the impact would have been greater. Since it was a COVID period also, so hence the shutdown have worked better for us.
Some products, yes, he is asking from marketing point of view. Some products, yes, you see, from the production perspective, there would have been product available. But in some products, like we talked about toluene, diisocyanate, it was affected severely. So we had huge stock piling up. There are other products also which were affected in the lockdown. Marketing people will give you some better idea. If we would have the production worth 26 days, what would have been the scenario?
Yeah, in one way that pandemic has affected the demand, and that is why it is a coincidence with our shutdown schedule. But we, by and large, we plan for the shutdown actually. Whenever there is a plant shutdown, we plan for it. And for some of the products, our sales is not affected because of the shutdown. We were having some inventory for that, and obviously we have to plan to cater the need of our customers continuously and uninterruptedly.
Right, sir. And there is a inventory pile up. What we see in the cotton numbers of 95 crore. Could you 96 crore, right, sir? Sir,
this is TDI.
It is predominantly TDI, sir.
Yes.
Okay, and sir,
you see in the quarterly numbers is a net increase in the inventory, which is led by TDI.
Okay, sir. And sir, the TDI price trends for March quarter and June quarter, what was the trend in the TDI international prices?
TDI prices remain steady actually.
Okay, that means they are flat.
There is
Can you give any
in the last 15 to 20 days, in last 2-3 weeks, there is slight increase.
Okay, so in dollar terms, can you give some more color, sir, for what was for the March end and what are the trends currently?
If you
just a ballpark,
it is almost steady.
Okay.
April and May it has gone down. It has gone down, and compared to that, it has increased in the month of July. Okay.
So then you can give the realization for the last quarter, sir. What was the realization for TDI? The blended realization for the entire quarter, and the March numbers.
The product specific information we normally avoid, so we have a request if this is not asked to us.
Okay. Right, sir. Sir, you have spoken about raw material prices moving faster at a escalating pace. So, if you could give some more color, how and what products raw material prices have flared up quarter on quarter, sir?
See, okay, raw material prices are going up across the board. Okay, whether you take off oil, gas, toluene, benzene, rock phosphate, okay, any commodity, imported ammonia, phosphoric acid, although we don't use phosphoric acid, okay, imported fertilizer, every commodity has gone up. And actually they are on fire. If you talk about gas, it has been on fire. If you talk about the international freight, it is also on fire. Like more than 100% change is there in case of transportation, as far as international transportation of certain products are concerned. Like you must have in the public domain, what are the per SCMD rates also. We don't give exactly what we buy at and what is the cost, but then in the public domain, if you see the graph of RLNG, it has constantly gone up over 4 or 5 months, and that too very sharply.
Right. And sir, any further details, I mean, out of this basket of 616 crore for the raw material, what are the major portions, if you could give?
Oil and gas.
Energy cost.
Oil and gas are both predominantly used as feedstock, and part of it as fuel as well. Okay. Like if we talk of TDI2, it is as a feed for generation of certain stream of gases to support the TDI production. Here also, like very small quantity we use for fuel, but predominantly we use for feed. Like we talk of ammonia production, it is used as feed, both oil and gas. And in terms of the proportion, normally out of our raw material consumption, it all depends upon the price part in the given period. But by and large, one may assume that roughly 60 to 70% out of the total raw material cost comprises of oil and gas itself. All gas taken together.
Okay. And then, sir, what goes for the power, fuel, and other utilities of 192 crores?
Yes, it is driven predominantly by coal. Coal prices have also gone up. Coal, oil, gas.
So the same charges are being clubbed at two levels, cost and the raw material also, and other power and fuel.
Which charges?
Sir, I'm talking. You are talking that oil cost is also there in the raw material as well as it is there in the power and fuel.
A small portion of oil goes as fuel.
Okay.
Okay.
So major is the coal.
Yes, predominantly it's a coal.
Okay. And sir, how is the sourcing done? We have a long-term contract or depending upon the spot market?
No. For fertilizer, we do have a contract. Okay, we call it FSA, Fuel Supply Agreement. And for the non-fertilizer, we buy. Normally, it is an imported buy. And of late, the prices have gone up in the import market of coal substantially.
So then there is going to be some impact definitely going forward also on account of coal charges also. Since the prices have moved up.
In spite of the increased material prices, it all depends upon what is finally the difference which we maintain in the output price and the input cost. So far it has been profitable, and we hope it is going to be to our advantage in time to come. But if somebody wants us to quantify, it is difficult.
Correct. And there are talks also, sir, for revision in the fertilizer prices again because of the unabated rise, as you have told about raw material prices. So, sir, if and hypothetically, what kind of price rise are we contemplating just to support the inflation created due to the raw material prices, jump in the raw material prices?
Okay. There are two factors. This is actually a government decision, so which is not possible to comment from our side.
Right.
As far as impact is concerned, all mixed fertilizer companies are subject to the scanner of government because they are auditable for the kind of margins they are keeping. And there is a Department of Fertilizer guideline to keep certain margin, not beyond that. So, which almost tantamounts to profiteering otherwise.
Sir, but fertilizer business, we are on wafer thin margin only. How can we think of even profiteering and all?
No. Your question is how much the government will...
Yes, sir, that is what I'm speaking to, sir. With the increase in raw material price trends in the fertilizer segment, how much should be the increase so that it will compensate our margins at these levels?
See, if you see, this change came on 20th of May, okay? Before that also, there was an increase in the cost which is absorbed by the company. Or across fertilizer industry, the burden is absorbed by the company. So it is difficult to say when there will be a revision. If that revision is there, it will come as a respite actually to the otherwise increasing cost. And for certain NPK producers, there could be a decision also required whether to continue or not continue the production, because ammonia prices has gone, all the input prices, phosphoric acid, rock and ammonia have gone up significantly. If you look at the last trailing 12-month information which is otherwise available in the domain, public domain, there is a sharp rise in all the three. In fact, in some product it is more than 100%, in other product it is close to 100%. So these are the impacts on the fertilizer industry. And what happens, normally public sector units or the government-run companies are substantially there apart from the cooperative sector, so which supports irrespective of the profitability. So they don't close down the plant. Like in our case also, we don't close down because of that reason. Apart from that, we have certain integration also, so we can't close down and take at times hit also if required. And you must have seen like this time we have turned profitable. Otherwise, overall fertilizer segment has shown losses because of various under-recoveries which industry also face and we also face. We face more predominantly because we don't expand on the volume terms, especially in urea and NPK, here at Bharuch complex. And even otherwise with likely commencement of around 1.27 million tons of 4 refineries, there is going to be a substantial closure in terms of what we have the country is importing and what is the total demand. If you look at the statistics of NPK plants, they more than 40% of the capacity, depending upon the prices, remain idling out within the country.
Sir, I missed your last 2 points. The 1.27, some numerical figure you gave, and then your last comment. There was a disruption. If you could repeat.
Okay, in case of NPKs, see, there are around 40% capacity which are not operational because of one or the other reason normally.
Okay.
This is mainly because, see what happens, although we say it's a decontrolled market, practically it's a controlled market. Why? Because for a manufacturer, there is a cost of production. And only it is offset by a certain subsidy which is decided under NBS route, nutrient-based subsidy route. Now the rest is on their account only, whereas product prices are not going up substantially because of the competition. And at times when the product prices go up, there is a government intervention also. And like last time what happened, most companies thought of increasing the prices. Some companies did. We were also in the process of doing that. And by the time around 20th May, this notification came wherein the rates were changed, predominantly of the P part, phosphorus part, which substantially changed. Whereas there was no change in N and K out of NPK.
Okay. And this figure of 1.27 million, what was that, sir? If you could come again.
1.27 million tons, I am talking about the new capacity. You must have heard about one company with 3 plants. Apart from that, there is a coal gasification based plant also around Orissa. Okay. So there are 5 units, 3 under one company and 2 different companies. So effectively 3 companies, 5 units are coming up with capacity. One has already become operational. The second is going to be operational around 2023. And the rest are also expected to be commissioned in.
Hello?
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the management line is disconnected. We request you to please hold the line. We will rejoin them back to the call. Please do not disconnect. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We have the management line now connected. Mr. Kapoor, once the management completes responding to your answer, to your question, we request you to please return to the queue.
It got interrupted. I would just seek that clarification and come in the queue, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, sir. Please complete that 1.27 million ton part of the story, sir. 3 players you were telling. Yeah.
See, one unit, the 3 units are that of Hindustan Urvarak. The one is at Talcher and another is Ramagundam. Talcher and Ramagundam are a separate entity, whereas 3 other plants are under HURL. Ramagundam has already started the production, and the rest 4 are also expected to start the production in next couple of years' time. There are different timelines. They keep on getting rescheduled, but we may expect that next 2 years this capacity should be operational, and the import of last year there was 9 million tons which were imported, so it should come down to that extent is what we hope in case of urea. Whatever we discussed, 1.27 into 5 is only in case of urea.
Okay. ठीक है, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take our next question, we would like to remind participants to ask a question. You may enter star and 1. Next question is from the line of Vipin Gosar from Invesco Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Sir, briefly you touched upon this question, but my idea is to understand QOQ, how the spreads have moved in
Mr. Gosar, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're sounding as if you're far from the phone. Can you just switch to a handset mode if it's on a speaker?
Is it getting better or is it still bad?
A little better, sir. That's fine, so you may proceed.
Yeah. Sir, if you can help us understand how the spreads of key chemical products have behaved for the quarter, especially for TDI and aniline, acetic acid, formic acid.
So, asking for the in comparison with what time?
Yeah, how the spreads have behaved for the quarter which has gone by. The results that we are seeing, and that how the spreads for a couple of key products have behaved, like TDI, aniline, acetic acid, formic acid.
As I mentioned that individual price product-wise I would not answer, but overall our 10 main products, the realization is remained steady if we compare Q4 and Q1.
And the spreads also would have behaved the same. Idea is to understand the gap between raw material and the finished product.
We understand your question. See, regarding a certain product, although it will not be possible to discuss product by product, key product if we talk, aniline is impacted, both in terms of volume as well as spread. Okay, acetic acid has a key input which is methanol. That is impacted because of the gas prices. Okay, but we had a good run on acetic acid Q4, even in Q1 also. If we talk about the TDI, yes, toluene prices itself are evident how it has gone. It is inching up, moving up, and the price of TDI is not going in tandem. So in terms of spread, they are little affected, but then still overall there is a profitability which is maintained. Product to product, there are certain pluses and minuses. Okay, but still as a weighted average and a portfolio mix, it has been profitable.
Got it. Thank you.
Regarding the spread, I would answer one thing. See, these are available even on certain publications like ICIS. If we talk about methanol, if we talk about TDI, they are in dollar terms. But what happens, these are the general trends. So what we have given you is the company specific, okay? What we witness in terms of our realization. Because they do report based on the days known to them. And there are many things which are not getting reported in those kinds of publications.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who has a question may enter star and 1. Our next question is from Govind Lal Gilara, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
I hope, sir, our all capex plan are on tap as we have discussed in our previous quarters.
Okay. Regarding capex, see, these are manufacturing companies. So once it undertakes capex, it has a transition time of a couple of years at least. So quarter to quarter, the plan does not change, and the capex part was well covered in the last quarterly earnings call. If there is a specific question, we might answer that. Otherwise, it is not something which will change quarter to quarter significantly. If there is anything, we will cover in our opening remarks as well.
Great, sir. That is helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who has a question may enter star and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, you may enter star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. We'll take our next question from the line of Parth Azia from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So, want to understand, are the higher freight costs also leading to higher prices? And if they are, what would be the extent to which the prices are higher because of them?
Actually, your voice we heard in a ruptured manner. Could you be little louder and closer to the mic?
Am I audible now, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I wanted to understand if the higher freight costs are also leading to higher prices of these products, and if they are, to what extent would the prices be higher because of them?
No. See, both are rising. That is different part, but it is not necessarily because of the higher input cost. The output prices are also higher. Okay. So many products we are absorbing at the cost of margin also. Okay. So it is not that if our cost will go up, it will go up. It is not like an urea thing, which is a total pass-through on variable cost part. But normally we have a reason to believe, like we take the case of ethyl acetate. We have a reason to believe because as the special denatured spirit, which is used as input there, has gone up significantly. There is a scarcity across world market. And therefore, we have a reason to believe that ethyl acetate price will not come down. If it comes down, there will be effects on the manufacturers, substantial effects on the manufacturers. So we have a reason to believe, in spite of like a kind of surplus market, we are not like importing ethyl acetate practically in this country. But then, in spite of that, we will see the prices to remain at robust level, which are already at higher level. Our marketing people will talk more on that. Example.
Yeah, this example of ethyl acetate is a very perfect example. This product, we are surplus. India is net surplus, and it is an export-driven product. As far as these two major raw materials are there for ethyl acetate, one is the acetic acid and one is ethanol, denatured spirit. Now, the price hike of denatured spirit is such a way that for no manufacturer it will be feasible to sell at lower level, at certain level. So the product of about 55,000 rupees will not be affordable if price goes below 85 or so.
Okay, that was helpful. And secondly, in last previous call, you mentioned that there were certain TDI capacities that shut down globally. So are there any more shutdowns that have taken place?
TDI shutdown across world.
Hello. Yeah, TDI supply and demand is balanced actually. And currently, if you see, then at the current time, there is no major shutdown planned by any manufacturer in the world.
So the capacity that was shut recently, they have started operations again?
Please be specific and clear. Could not hear you clearly.
So there were a couple of capacities that you mentioned were shut. So they have restarted now?
Yes, last quarter, yes. Some big plants in Europe has gone into shutdown that point of time, which have restarted, maybe not at 100% level, but up to 70% level. The BASF Germany plant has restarted.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. As there are no further questions from the participants, I now hand the floor back to the management for closing comments.
We thank you, Batliwala and Karani, for holding this call as well as all participants.